If you've been following soil stories, you already know that I'm a big believer in one simple truth. Your kitchen holds some of the best plant food you will ever use, not at the store, not in a fancy bottle, and definitely not in those expensive slow-release pellets we sometimes get tempted to buy. Right there, between your vegetable peelings, leftover rice water, eggshells, coffee grounds, and even banana peels, lies a powerful, nutrient-rich treasure your plants are begging for. Most gardeners, especially beginners, imagine fertilizer as something complicated or expensive, but today, I want to show you how easy, natural, and satisfying it can be to turn your everyday kitchen scraps into an organic fertilizer your plants will absolutely thrive on. Whether you're growing vegetables, potted plants, flowers, or herbs, this guide will give you a reliable, evergreen method for nourishing your soil without chemicals, without waste, and without stress. Let's get into it. Gardener to gardener. Before we begin crafting, let's understand why these simple scraps are so powerful. Plants rely on three major nutrients: nitrogen for leafy growth, phosphorus for strong roots and blooms, and potassium for overall vigor and disease resistance. Kitchen waste happens to be rich in all three, and even better, it contains micronutrients like calcium, magnesium, and iron that store-bought fertilizers often leave out. Banana peels give potassium, eggshells supply calcium, coffee and tea add nitrogen, vegetable scraps bring a blend of everything, and starchy water actually feeds soil microbes, making nutrients more available. It's like giving your soil a balanced organic multivitamin, but what makes kitchen waste fertilizer truly special is that it not only feeds your plants, it feeds your soil life, the invisible workers who turn organic matter into nutrient-rich black gold. Once you start nourishing the soil ecosystem, healthy growth just becomes effortless. This is the fertilizer I always recommend for beginners, and honestly, it's the one I use the most on Soil Stories gardens. It's fast, it's effortless, and it works for almost every plant. Think of it as compost tea's humble cousin, quick to make, rich in nutrients, and incredibly gentle. So, to get started, you'll want to collect nutrient-rich scraps like banana peels, eggshells, coffee grounds, vegetable offcuts, and even those spent tea leaves. Give them a quick rinse if they're oily or have any seasoning on them. Then, just chop everything into smaller pieces. This helps them break down a lot faster. Next, fill a clean bucket or jar about halfway with your chopped scraps, and then, go ahead and top it off with clean water. Make sure you cover it loosely so there's some airflow. Remember, you're not trying to ferment alcohol here, you're just steeping nutrients. After about 3 to 5 days, you'll notice the liquid turns darker and has a nice mild earthy smell. At this point, just strain the liquid, dilute it with water at a 1-to-1 ratio, and pour it right at the base of your plant's stems. This tea honestly works wonders for things like leafy greens, tomatoes, ornamentals, and even your houseplants. If you've ever noticed your garden looking tired, yellowing, or just kind of hungry, this simple mixture can really bring it back to life. Now, if you're growing flowering plants, fruiting vegetables, or even roses, you'll definitely want to pay attention to this next bit. Banana peels are absolutely packed with potassium, and this nutrient plays a huge role in helping blooms form, boosting disease resistance, and building strong stems. All you need to do is take your banana peels and soak them in water for about 48 hours. The longer you let them sit, the richer your banana peel juice will get. Just use it once a week during flowering and fruiting seasons. Plants like peppers, tomatoes, strawberries, and roses respond beautifully to this little boost. For long-term benefits, dry the peels in the sun until they're crisp, then crush them into powder using a mortar blender or even just your hands. This powder mixes easily into the soil and, releases nutrients slowly over several weeks. It's an evergreen trick I use all year round. Calcium is often overlooked, yet it's absolutely essential for preventing blossom end rot in tomatoes and peppers, strengthening plant cell walls, and improving overall growth. Kitchen waste gardeners really love eggshells for this reason. Rinse your shells, dry them in the sun, and crush them finely until they resemble coarse sand or powder. The finer they are, the faster the soil absorbs them. Sprinkle this powder around the base of your plants, or if you like, mix it into your potting soil when planting. For a faster liquid version, Just boil crushed shells for 10 minutes, let the water cool, and use it as a calcium booster. I use this, especially on tomatoes, peppers, and squash, plants that really demand calcium. If you're a coffee drinker, you're sitting on a goldmine. Used coffee grounds contain nitrogen, which is an essential nutrient for leafy growth. Green plants, lawns, herbs, and spinach absolutely adore nitrogen. Just remember to dry your used coffee grounds to prevent mold. Then you can sprinkle them lightly around your plants, mix them into the soil, or even add them to your scrap tea. Because coffee is acidic, be cautious with plants that dislike acidic soil. But for nitrogen-hungry crops, like kale, cabbage, basil, and even corn, this is a natural booster that makes leaves lush and green. While teas and quick fertilizers work fast, compost works deep. It improves soil structure, boosts moisture retention, and slowly releases nutrients over months. If you want a long-term set-it-and-forget-it method of turning kitchen waste into black gold, composting is your best friend. Start with a container or pit. Layer kitchen scraps, which are your greens, with dry materials, or browns like shredded paper, dry leaves, or sawdust. You'll want to maintain moisture, not too wet, not too dry. Turn the pile every week or two. In about 2 to 3 months, depending on your climate, you'll have rich, dark compost that transforms any soil it touches. Compost is the heart of organic gardening, and once you experience its results, you'll never look at kitchen waste the same way again. Okay, so, this is honestly one of my favorite gentle fertilizers, especially for seedlings, soft-leaf vegetables, and, indoor plants. The starch in rice water actually feeds beneficial soil microbes, which helps them break down organic matter and release nutrients. Just wash your rice, collect that cloudy water, and water your plants with it right away. It's mild, totally safe, and honestly, surprisingly effective. With consistent use, you'll start to notice stronger roots and greener leaves. This little trick really is the definition of simple home gardening magic. When you make fertilizer at home, you get to control the ingredients. There are no chemicals, no salts that burn roots, and no risk of overfeeding, just clean, wholesome nutrients your plants can actually recognize and use naturally. And, unlike those store-bought products, home fertilizers also nourish the soil life that keeps your garden thriving for the long term. They release nutrients slowly, improve soil health, and help keep your plants resilient against pests and diseases. Plus, you save money and reduce waste. It's a win for your garden, your wallet, and the planet. Every gardener has a story, and here on Soil Stories, this is one of mine. The day I stopped throwing away my kitchen waste was the day my garden transformed. My soil got richer, my plants grew stronger, my harvest doubled, and everything became simpler and more natural. You don't need expensive fertilizers. You need awareness of what you already have. Nature has always provided. Now you just get to work with it. If you found this guide helpful and want more gardening secrets like this, don't forget to subscribe to Soil Stories on YouTube. Share this article with a fellow gardener who needs it, and let's keep growing healthy soil and beautiful gardens together. Super Soil Stories, on screen text, watermark throughout the video.